fellow cinephiles, and welcome back to the Talk Film to Me podcast, where I talk about films in Kenya, wait, in Africa, and beyond. I'm your host, Nkata. Let's talk film. Hello, fellow cinephiles, and welcome back to episode 3. You know, they've just said that before clapping, and I'm just thinking, damn, it's episode 3. On my way here, I was just thinking how it's a real, I don't know, maybe I should post like the first episode I ever did with this story. Like, I think I've said it a lot of times with my Samsung A23. It's relevant because the quality was not the best. But I've gotten this chance. I'm part of the runway program at Summer Box, and I'm really excited that I get the chance to sit and yap about my favorite thing, which is film. Anyway, I was out of the country, and I have that sounds quite. That's not very humble, but it's headed somewhere, I promise. So I was in South Africa for the Durban Talent Press program, basically the Durban Talents, and I have so much to yap about it. I have been drowning in content that I wanted to post on Instagram, and I was just like, man, 10 episodes of the same thing won't cut it because there's so much to share. But you know, Instagram can only take like 3 minutes. If you do more, they don't share it to new audiences. So I just sat down and was like, that's a whole episode then you have to do. I mean, it's only fair that I share my experience here because this is why I went there. So the Durban Talent Press program is part of the Durban Film Mart, and they do call-outs every year. So if you're interested in joining and going to SA and having a good time as I did, do apply. I think they roll out at the end of the year. So I applied last year and then I got in this year. And I think I did a reel about this on Instagram. Traveling is not cheap, guys. It's not cheap. So I had to look for funding, and luckily the program did talk to a few people for us. They sent out proposals and GIZ came through. They funded the flights. I also talked to Hiva Fund because I wanted to stay longer for the festival as well so that I could interact with more people, go to the festival, attend, see everything. I was just like, I have this chance. I want to experience it fully. So we left on the 17th of July. My God, first of all, it was my first time traveling out of the country, like being on an international flight. I was stressed out. Luckily, I had some people that I knew, so it wasn't 100% bad, but I won't lie. I was really, really stressed out. I wrote notes on my phone so that I don't forget anything that I wanted to say. So I'll start with my expectations. Now, when I was going there, I mean, I knew I wanted to meet people. I wanted to meet like-minded people, film critics from different parts of Africa, because there are 5 of us in the program, 2 from South Africa, 1 from Ghana, me from Kenya, and the other one from Egypt. Sadly, he wasn't able to make it. I will talk about the reasons later because I think it opened my mind about how there are certain things that could be very limiting, but we don't think about them. So, like I mentioned, I wanted to meet new people, meet like-minded people. There aren't a lot of film critics in Kenya. And, you know, people think film criticism is hating on a film. It's not. It's more nuanced than that. And we had sessions before we traveled to Durban for this thing. We had, I think, 10-week sessions, classes, assignments. It was a whole course, honestly. It was a whole course. And it felt like going to Durban was going there for the graduation. If I'm being really honest, that's what it felt like. The city. Ooh. First of all, South Africa is cold. It's winter there still currently. And it's like the temperatures would drop to 7, 11, 5. Johannesburg was at 3. I'm like, this is crazy. It's cold right now, but it's at 21. Honestly, I won't lie, I feel like it's really warm. When I got back to Kenya, the first thing after getting out of the plane, I just felt like this heat. You know that heat when you go to Mombasa, you just arrive maybe from the SGR, because that's what I can compare it to. It was so warm. So I was just like, this place is cool, but the city is beautiful. The people are nice. I interacted with nice people. I wouldn't say all of them are nice, if I'm being really honest. Like there are a few bad seeds in the pod, but it was interesting. I'm like, okay. And then the language. I don't know, maybe it's because we're so used to speaking Swahili, and then you go to a country where they speak a whole different language. They speak mostly in Zulu. So everybody's just like, Sawubona, Unjani. I'm like, what am I supposed to answer to that? I know, I was just flexing. I've learned the words, guys. You have no choice. The Uber drivers, they'll speak to you in Zulu because I think Africans, we all really look alike. So they saw me, they were like, no, you look like you're from, like a colored person. I was like, what does that mean? Which I found really weird that they say you're colored. That would mean that your parents, have an intermarried someone. I was just like, isn't that offensive? It's not. That's the way things are there. Now, the Durban Film Mart. Before I went there, I thought the festival was bigger than the market. And while we were in transit on our last stop in Johannesburg, I was seated with Chloe Ganga from LBX. And she was, I think, either we were in Johannesburg or in Nairobi. I'm not so sure. But when we were having the conversation, she did mention that the market is bigger than the festival. I was just like, that doesn't make sense. But I'll see for myself, I guess. And say for myself, I did. Because, guys, the film mart was full of people. I think if you want to meet interesting people from Africa, just go to that market. The festival after was really empty, for lack of a better word and for lack of a respectful word, honestly. The market is full of interesting people. I met people from all over the world, even being honest. There were people from Sundance. There were people from Fespaco, Phoebe from Kenya, Mohammed. There were so many people to meet. And at first I got overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, I want to talk to this person. I want to talk to this person. I want to connect with this person. I want to connect with this person. By the third day, I had a serious burnout because remember, we're part of the Talent Press program, which means we're covering the festival, the market, and we still have sessions that are meant for us in the program. I just remember how tired I was by the fourth day because you're literally running from room to room. And at the same time, you're in a new country, in a new city, and you want to experience that. That was stressful. If I'm being really honest, that was really, really stressful. But overall, like I guess I learned. I was just like, okay, the market is doing better. If you want to connect with people, do it at the market. People are more open. They're here to meet people as well. They want to interact with people. And I feel like also I interacted more with the Kenyans from here. I don't know, maybe it's a thing that once you're out of the country, you feel closer to your people. Because I felt closer to people from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. And people, honestly, I don't think we would have had a conversation if we were here. But because we were there, it was so much easier. And I took full advantage of that. I made new friends, people who I see around here because I can't talk to them. But there, it was so much easier. It took something as simple as saying, hi, I'm from Kenya. And they were like, oh my God, me too. And suddenly you're both yapping away. And, I found that quite interesting. Now, just like I've explained, I wrote this down so that I don't forget it. The film mart is literally a film market. You'll have different exhibitions, different people, filmmakers, distributors, marketers, everyone who's interested in the film industry, funders who are there. Like it's a market, literally bring everyone from the film industry and have them set up shop in one place, then start talking to each other. Boom, you have business. Like you have business. And it made me think really much about the Kalasha film and TV market. And I was just like, I wish there was somebody from there, like from Kalasha to be a Durban film mart, to take notes and see what we could possibly do with the film market here. Because I think that's the only one that we have. And that's sad. which will take me to my next point. Going back actually to the film art, there were panels, there were sessions, there were discussions, and sitting through the sessions, there were some things that were being raised, and I was just like, oh my God, we all have the same problems, just that you guys are doing a bit better, but we all still have the same problems. Distribution, marketing. Like, it's nothing new. I didn't hear anything new. The only new thing that I saw, and I was just like, well, we're not experiencing that, is the domination of the white person in the industry. It's it made me appreciate how the Kenyan film industry looks like, because there it's very obvious the white person is doing so much better. No offense to white people, but that's an African country. And I felt like I was in Europe, if I'm being honest. First of all, Durban has like a high population of Indians than white people than black people. It's located in KZN, or it is KZN. I'm not very sure. KwaZulu Natal province. And, of course, I expect a lot of Zulus there. But I was really shocked that there are more white people. And I guess also this is, I will factor in the fact that I also stayed at a hotel. So obviously I'm not going to meet with the locals every now and then. It's a very touristy along the Golden Mile. And I was just like, there are a lot of white people there. And if any Kenyan does not see that as an opportunity, that we actually have the chance to dominate the industry ourselves, people are having different problems. So it's very, I think that's a positive thing for us. I'm not saying like it's sad for them, but it's a positive thing for us. Now the festival. The festival started on the 17th and ended on the 27th. So 10 days. So a lot of film screenings, a lot of also, they had sessions for filmmakers. But here's the thing. The Durban Film Mart started on the 17th, or let's say the 18th, and by the 22nd, it was over. I opted to stay back because I thought I would still connect to the people that I didn't get a chance to connect with after the film art. I was surprised. Most people left. Like, most people left. The festival was almost empty. And it made me think, oh my God, there are like 10 people who are left. Even in the program that I was in, I mean, I understand, staying in a different country is not cheap. I had to look for funding to stay there. But it was very surprising. This festival has been there like for so many years. That was the 47th festival, of DIF. And I could count the number of people at various screenings. I moderated Q&A sessions of some of the screenings. And there were some which were really packed based on the popularity of the film and I guess the marketing of the film that was done. But also there were some that were really empty. I think I moderated a screening where I only had 5 people in attendance. And I was shocked. I was just like, damn, why are people not coming? Where is everyone? Because during the film art, there were so many people. Like so many people. You could throw a coin in the room, even on the road, and you just hit somebody who was part of the Durban thing. But after the 22nd, everybody was gone. And I was just like, what's happening? How can the market be bigger than the festival? You get what I mean? How can the market be bigger than where you're selling these things to? It doesn't. I was just like, something's not adding up. So I did talk to a couple of people. I think I'll post a clip on Instagram about a conversation I had with one filmmaker, a writer actually from South Africa, who's called Zama. And I just asked him, like, what happened here? What's going on? I mean, this is my first time, but I really thought that the festival was going to be big. There's so few people. The cinema is full during screenings, especially on the weekends, because I was there for 2 weekends. But like, there are no people entering the rooms, or rather the screening rooms, which have African films. It's Hollywood or Bollywood. And I was just like, damn, we have the same problem, because that's the same thing here. I mean, I can't say the same. I've attended I attended Kalasha last year and I attended NBO. And I would say, compared to DIF, they had like they had a really good turnout. And I'm just like, I'm worried for DIF. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with the marketing. Maybe it's something to do with, I don't know, finances. I couldn't tell, I didn't have time to interact that much. Again, I was only there for 10 days. But, everybody could see it. The sessions that were being held only had like 10 at most 15 people who attended. While during the film, like people would like fight to be in a room just to listen to the people who were there, which makes me think there's an opportunity as well for Kailasha to also do the same for the market. Like invite people who would make people want to come and listen. There's so much that can be done. Like there's so much that can be done. On to my next point. I've already talked about it. But just to mention again, we had sessions 10 weeks before for 10 weeks. You're reading, you're writing, you're recording videos. You have a lot of KPIs to fulfill. And do I think it was worth it? Yes, I have definitely changed how I view cinema, how I view film criticism, because I have a background in film. I love film. So the first thing when I look at a story is how the story is told. But apparently, as a film journalist, there are films where you need to first look at the story before you look at how it has been told. Boy, did I struggle with that. Because I'm just like, you would have told the story in verite. It would have come out so nicely, would have gotten the point, would have, connected more with the story. And I was told, I mean, that's a good point, but the story has to come first. And that's something really hard to unlearn because again, like I said, my background is in film. I started this podcast because I wanted to talk about the films and how they were done and the story. And now you're told, okay, I know the camera angles were terrible, the editing was whack, but you need to talk about the story because it's more important. And that duty is big. I was just like, okay, I wonder if Critical Drinker thinks about this. If you do not know Critical Drinker, just go onto YouTube and search for him. He's a really hilarious, sometimes really, really mean, most of the times really, really mean film critic. I think he's from Hollywood, if I'm not wrong. Like from USA, that's what I mean. But I was just like, okay, that's something hard to unlearn. Secondly, my style of writing has definitely changed how I review things. Normally, I'd want my voice to be very much in the review because it's me. People read because I am the one who's written it. But changing that, making it not personal was really also hard for me. I remember my mentor Domina. We fought over it for some weeks before like I retracted and then thought about it and then found a new way to write that still feels like it's still from me, still written by me, still my style, but doesn't have like my personal opinion and voice in it. Again, every critique is an opinion that you cannot dispute. But there's an opinion which will come out clearly. You're telling us to think this way. As a film critic, you're not telling the people to think like this. You're showing them things that they could possibly think about and also leaving room for them to have their own thoughts and opinions. That was hard for me. That was really, really hard for me. I struggled a lot with that. But eventually, I was there to learn and learn I did. Learn I did. And hopefully, if you read the few articles that I wrote, few is an understatement. The many articles that we wrote during the program, you will probably see the change. The difference between the South African film industry and the Kenyan film industry. Number one, I'll talk about just first of all just getting there before talking about the differences. Like getting to the festival, which is sort of like a whole African thing. Traveling within Africa is stressful because tell me why the journey from Kenya to South Africa could probably be somewhere in the tune of at most 10 hours. I'm not 100% sure, but I think at most 10 hours. Or let's say we're being extravagant, 12. The journey took me way longer than that. Like, way, way longer, especially the journey back. I think it took me 26 hours in transit. And by the time I got back home, I was beat and I was just wondering, it's not that far, it's just down here. Because from South Africa, from Johannesburg to Ethiopia was 7 hours. So definitely from Johannesburg to Kenya would have been less hours, probably minus two, so five. And because of the routes that are there, it's harder to get there. Number two, I'm a Kenyan, and the Kenyan government and the South African government signed this thing where any Kenyan can go to South Africa for 90 days visa free. That was an advantage for me. Now, for people who do not come from Kenya, for any of the people who wanted to attend the festival, I think like Mohammed, I don't know whether it's the actual reason he missed out, but like I know people who missed out on being there at the festival and at the market because of visa problems. And I was just like, how's Africa supposed to, work together if it's so hard to move within Africa? Because for some flight routes, again, it's easier to fly all the way to Europe than back to Africa. So, for example, if you're going to, I don't know, Ivory Coast, okay, maybe not Ivory Coast, but you get the gist, yeah? You have to fly from out of Nairobi, maybe to Qatar, then Qatar to the country that you're coming back to in Africa. No, it's just like, that's crazy. So imagine if taking advantage of the collaboration that is there between Kenya and SA, you have a visa free, like 90 days. You can get a job as a crew, as an actor. Like we can collaborate because it's so easy to move within the countries because it's the same for somebody from SA. They can literally just come. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the man who sits on that house on the hill. But Kenya has now opened the country, it's visa free, except I think for two countries, if I'm not wrong, which, if you really think about it in terms of this situation, it's an advantage. Of course, there are disadvantages to it, but I'm trying to be positive here. It's an advantage. If we were to have any collaborations, film collaborations where we do like inter-country treaties, like this would be so good for us. Literally so good. So that I was just like, that's crazy. Because a lot of people missed out. It's not because you can't afford to go to that country. It's because you're denied a visa. That's nuts. That's crazy, honestly. Because how are we supposed to collaborate if it's so hard to move around to each other, like move across the countries? That doesn't make sense. So I'll talk about the things that I found really interesting about SA, and I don't know, maybe things we could learn as a Kenyan industry. Government incentives. Now, before any Kenyan person, commissioner, anyone runs to me about incentives working here, it's one thing for incentives to exist. It's another for people to know those things exist. It's another for them to actually work. Now, I don't know where we are at. Probably there are. At least I know one. I know that with KRA, if you're a filmmaker and you need to import equipment, there's an incentive you get. I don't know how public this information is. I don't know where it should be put for people to know that exists. And I don't know what the terms there look like. So there's a gap there. So again, they could exist, but we don't know. And if we know, do they work? In SA, those rebates exist and they work. Like majority of the people who I spoke to actually have gotten good government incentives and are working for it and are working with them. Like it's working for them, guys. I was shocked, guys. Like your government is working. I'm not saying mine isn't, just that better could be done. A strong festival culture. Now, again, based on my experience at DIF, I can't say that this is like one of their strongest points The film market convinced me that. And then after, I was just like, where did everybody go? So I can't say that they have like a strong cinema going culture. They have the same problem that we do. People will opt for Hollywood and Bollywood compared to their, what is South African film called? I wonder. Because I know Kenya is Riverwood. That's homework. Go find out. And if you know, please let me know. Treat film like an export. I was walking around the exhibition center and I was looking for any Kenyan, Ugandan, Tanzanian, or Ethiopian exhibitor. Did I find any? Yes, but no. Like the only one that I saw was Kenya Grips and Sparks Lighting, and it's because it's a partner of, I think it's called Panalux Vision, something close to that. Um, but it was so interesting. I was just like, nobody thinks this is a market worth looking into. There's so many people here. There's so many opportunities that are just lurking around. And nobody from Kenya thought like it was a good opportunity to be there. Like as part of an exhibitor, achara when you only attend. A lot of us attended. There were so many Kenyans, guys. But it was shocking. And for the South African government, they treat film as part of their trade portfolio. I do not think the Kenyan government does that. Based on how they treat the film industry, we're part of the sports ministry. Like mchezo indeed, it says a lot. And when the South African government is exchanging their trade portfolios, film is there. Like they actually market their, you know, South Africa. How many Hollywood films have been done in SA? There, you have your answer. I think if the Kenya Film Commission, that's their job. Like if it was doing more marketing, I think would be at a better place. Now, I'm not saying it's not working, but I feel like whatever the Kenya Film Commission is currently doing is housekeeping, where everything is still running, but nothing more is being done. And that's why, like, the problem is that's why, like, there isn't growth. Yes, it's still like the wheels keep turning, but we're not moving forward. We're not moving forward. Do something. Start marketing Kenya as a film destination. Start marketing the films that have been done in Kenya as part of as part of Kenya's trade portfolio. Make Kenya look like we're doing something in the film industry because there's something that we're doing. Like there are many good films that are coming up, despite their ratings on this podcast, but still, they're being done, and that's important. Structures for skills development. Again, in that exhibition center, like I saw funding companies. Yeah, I'm calling out funding companies. Like we need to see your stands at the next film market that happens in this country. Talk to people. Like let us know the opportunities that are there. We need to see each other. And for this film markets, we need to be there. We need to make people know there's a country called Kenya and there are opportunities in that country. There needs to be more structure. And when I'm talking about structure, I think I actually interacted with somebody who, Steven Nigel, he got an award during the during the pitch sessions because as part of the talents program, we had the filmmakers and then we had the press. I was part of the press. The other talents were the filmmakers and they actually pitched to get money from the program, and some did. Some got like really good opportunities to get a lab, opportunities to get money. And one of the structures that were there is the NFVF. Yes, National Film and Video Foundation. And I was just like, that's quite interesting. Do we have anything similar to that in Kenya? I'll let you answer that question because I was disappointed. And then another structure that I found really interesting, provincial commissions. Durban has its own film industry, if I can call it that. Like they have their own structure. Cape Town has the same. Johannesburg has the same. And I'm sure other probably cities also have something similar. Come to Kenya. The only county that I see that is doing better in film so far is Mombasa. Like Mombasa is actually coming up. There are a lot of opportunities there. And I think somebody needs to shed light on that as well. See what exactly is going on there, because we're getting more films coming from that side, and a lot of us are going to shoot things there or interact with the people from there. There's a whole industry that's coming up there. Kitale Film Week might be the opening door for also another film destination or film ecosystem in Kitale. And I think Pages is doing an amazing job. But like there needs to be more structure. Like I said, he's opened a door, but we need to like open the entire room. Open the entire room. Like there's so much more that can come out of that. So I found it really interesting because at the exhibition center, the Come Film in Cape Town was there, Come Film in Joburg was there, the Come Film in Durban was there. Imagine if we had that in a Kenyan market. Come Film in Mombasa, Come Film in Turkana, Come Film in Nakuru, Kisumu. There's so many opportunities. We need to open our eyes. My eyes have been opened, and I'm sharing this information, and I hope that somebody somewhere will get a bright idea and start something great for this country. Local TV and streaming originals. Now, there's no way I can talk about this without talking about MultiChoice and Showmax. And there, I mean, I watch TV a lot. I wanted to see what their TV looks like. I know as we have Citizen and NTV, and we all know what comes on those stations. I wouldn't lie, I'm not the biggest fan. Like, put something Kenyan. There's a rule that says 60% of the content should be Kenyan. I don't think we barely have 15%. Honestly, I don't think we have 15%. There, my God, I almost learned Zulu by watching the shows. I was just like, what do you mean? It was quite interesting to see that there are a lot of original shows. Those people watch their own stuff. You see, like the way Nigerians like watching their stuff. I think South Africans also, like, even though they do not watch, it's on their TV. So they have no choice what to watch. Like they'll watch their stuff. Problems that I think as I end this that we could see and learn from them. Unequal access to funding. Guys, I've already talked about how there's an imbalance in terms of the race there. Like the white man will definitely dominate that industry. As the white man, the colored man, the black man. I have not spoken about the woman yet. Like the woman is there at the bottom. I spoke to one of the filmmakers there, and he said, there are very few women in this industry. And I was just about to say, well, there are also very few black people in this industry because most of the people there were white. Again, I do not hold any offense to any white person. It's just interesting that is an African country, and most people that I'm seeing on those seats and chairs are white people. What? So unequal access to funding, the white people will get the money more. We do not have that problem here. That's an opportunity for us. Market saturation in certain genres. You see, the way we have a problem with crime stories, they have a problem with soap operas. Honestly, like, it's the same thing. Flip from channel to channel to channel. It's almost the same thing. So it's just like, okay, well, it makes sense why indie filmmakers, have a better opportunity. Not a better opportunity, have worse opportunities, but have better stories. Because you're recycling the same thing. And of course, if they're asked, they're told, that's what the market wants. Is that what really the market wants? It's just like, that's competition from international content. I mean, I have mentioned this. The cinema there is very similar to here, the structure. Hollywood, Bollywood are at the top, and then the African films follow later. So only if there's enough hype around it, if there's enough conversation around it, and the marketing around it. Distribution bottlenecks for indie films. I've just mentioned this. Like, if you're an indie filmmaker, there, here, wherever, it's hard. You're all going through the same problems, guys. Crew brain drain. Now, this is slowly starting to happen in Kenya as well. I cannot blame anyone for running for a better opportunity. God knows that I would too. We all want good opportunities for ourselves. But in SA, it's like really, really crazy. Of course, the international organizations and productions will come and they pay way, 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 way better than the local film production. So obviously, you're going to run for those opportunities. And there it's happening faster than it is here. I think there's an opportunity for the Kenya Film Commission to sit down and structure. Stop doing housekeeping. You've done that for a long time now. Start putting actually like structures that work for the film industry. There's so much that I saw that I was just like, you might be ahead, but you also have problems that we have, and we're a few steps behind. So that means like we could get to where you are and even be better if we just put certain structures, that we see are working for you. And just being there opened my mind, and I was just like, there's opportunity, guys. I don't hate the film industry in Kenya. I have seen like there's potential for us to grow, but that growth will not come if we do not put structures. That growth will not come if we do not open our eyes and start working twice as hard. Tumerelax na tuko na the abilities, tuko na some of the resources that are there. Of course, the government needs to come in. Those incentives, we need to know if they exist. We need to know where to find them. We need to know how to access them. And they need to work. They need to work. So I hope this episode has been eye-opening for any filmmaker who's interested to know whether there's an opportunity there. Given a chance, would I go back there? Yes. Oh my God. There's still, I was only in one province. I was only in KZN. I would want to go and see what Joburg looks like. I would want to go and see what Cape Town looks like. I would want to interact more. But so far, if I got that much from one province, I wonder how much more I can get from the other provinces. But before that happens, we have this knowledge. I don't know. I sort of almost feel helpless. Like, yes, niko na hii knowledge, but nitaambia nani? The best I can do is just sit at a podcast here and talk about it. But I hope the people who are actually responsible for it take some sort of action. Like, there's so much that can be done. I have seen how it works there. And I hope that even the festivals that are here, NBO, Kitale Film Week, MIF, what's this other one? Eldoret Film Festival, all the festivals that exist in this country. There's so much that you could do to fill up those spaces. And finally, as I shamelessly plug my company, For the World Film Marketing, they have the same problems with marketing that we do. They're not that far ahead. We can still catch up, guys. We can still catch up. We just need to put effort in terms of our marketing. There's no secret sauce. We just have to put in the work. And with that, I guess I will end this episode saying thank you so much. I'm so grateful to anyone and everyone who supported me to get there, to get access to this knowledge, to get access to this information, to be able to, sit here and have this conversation. And I hope it definitely helps someone. So keep creating, keep talking, and most importantly, please, guys, follow the podcast on every channel that you can think of: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, I don't know, anywhere, wherever you get your podcast from. Until the next episode, it's goodbye. Thank you. Let's keep talking film. Bye.